Hi, my name is Steve Worcester, and this is part 2 in the video on turning a resin egg. In this one, what we'll do is we will clean up the CA that we used as filler in the last video, and then do a little bit of sanding. We'll reverse chuck it, use a vacuum chuck, and we'll take off the tenon and do the final sanding and polishing. Hope you enjoy it. Any comments or questions, leave them down below. We'll be happy to get back to you. Thanks for joining me. So we put some super glue on it. CA glue, super glue I think is a brand. The other day I used Mercury Flex Thin, which is my glue of choice in these situations. And I have freshly sharpened my negative rate scraper, and we're gonna take some light passes on here and see how that's gonna come out. I've taken away the tailstock because using that right now would introduce point, which I don't want to point at this part, at this stage. Looks pretty good. All right, let's continue here. You got to take really light passes. CA glue is pretty brittle, so I don't want to chip out, anything that I've put in there already. I'm going to go ahead and sand the rest of this back to about here, and then we'll reverse chuck it and see if we can't clean up the rest and make it eggy. Let's go, man. Air, not really air. Maybe try a thinner pad. This is starting at 400, which might be actually a little optimistic, but we'll see. Give me some speed. We don't have all day, man. So I keep my fingers away from the jaws. Otherwise, we got to go back and talk about how much fingers cost. 6 fills, 600 grit. Take a little bit of the sharpness off the nose there. Next time I do this, I think I have to eat more eggs and take a photograph of each egg and analyze its structure and how it relates to the golden rule and Fibonacci and design principles and whatever. 800. Now I could have done this with a couple different other products that we have. Berry, turning with berry is Abralon, which is a great product for this. It has a cult following in bowling for polishing bowling balls. Or corian, which is what it was invented for. We could also, and that goes, it is, and Abralon is
foam back. It's a silicon carbide. It's a great product for that. It goes up to 4,000. It goes 180, 360, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. It's a great product. I really like it, but it is kind of special purpose and more expensive. And if you're going to have sandpaper already, then this is a good product for it too, this Galaxy. And then we also have a product from Eagle, which is a family of abrasives. It's a cheap product that's used in the automotive industry for cleaning up paint. And we sell that in half sheets and full sheets. It's a hook and loop back. But it starts at about 240 and goes up to I think 3,000. It's a great product for that. We have a lot of people who use that for high-end hollow forms that are shot with automotive clear coats, or I have some people who are instrument makers who are using it for their own clear coating their instruments and stuff. It's a really good product. All right, we're at 1,500. So there are other products that are similar to Abralon out there. Probably the most famous would be the Trizac series from 3M, but it is really expensive. I used it on a computer that I shot with Clear Coat a while back. And when I looked at buying it, it was cheaper for me to buy it off eBay than it was for me to buy it wholesale. So I bought it off eBay, and that way I didn't have to buy a whole box. But it goes up to, I want to say, over 5,000. All right.
So here we are. This is after 2000. Let's get some polish on there and see how that works out. See what kind of brilliance we can get off of there. Now, if you thought the water made a mess, which it does, you can't see it, but there's water all on the ground. Polishes make a better mess. Interestingly enough, they don't always come out in the wash. So you sometimes end up having to take and clean the with a cloth first. Okay, so let's turn this up all the way, which is about 2,000 RPM. And because of the pattern on here, sometimes it's difficult to understand if you have, or difficult to determine if you actually have sanding scratches, because as it spins around, you're looking at it now, because it looks like you have a bunch of scratches in it, and you actually don't. Okay, so that's with the top secret and delightfully smelling product that I'm looking at carrying. So you can see there's still a couple of big holes in there, well, bubbles, and I'm gonna just leave it. So let's get into reverse turning this and then cleaning up the bottom and making it the best egg ever. Now, what we could have done is used a reverse chuck-in adapter from one way, which allows you to mount a chuck. In this case, that uses 1.25 by 8. It goes in between the chuck here and a robust or associated live center, and then line that up with what is going to be a jam chuck / vacuum chuck that goes on here. But we don't really need to, because we have a divot in here that theoretically is the exact center, since that's where we turned it on centers from. Now what I'm going to do is I have a robust live center with the point out just a teeny bit, enough to where I can grab onto, once I find it, the center, and then put that into my chuck, or my jam chuck / vacuum chuck. And then let's bring that, take the speed down since we were at high speed there. Bring vacuum up. Look at how clean that is. I didn't plan it, but that's very nice. Okay, so one of the things is how much vacuum are we going to get? So I don't need the vacuum right now, but I can get over 24 inches of mercury off of that, which is great. That'll hold us pretty well. The interesting thing about, once you apply the vacuum, it sucks it in and brings it off of the chuck. So I'm going to use a robust 1/2-inch bowl gouge. These are nitrided surfaces, so it keeps an edge very well. We don't want to take big passes here. We get our brush and we turn on the dust collector. Cut and repeat. So we could tell once the live center stops spinning that we're using it more as a jam chuck. What we want to pay attention to here is that we're cutting away the bottom of the egg. We want to make sure that we're going to have, since it's a subtractive process, we know that once we cut it away, you cannot put it back. As good as we like to think we are, well, it's resin, right? We can just cast it more. And so I have my dust collector here, and I have a grid on it, a grill on it, so it doesn't, if it were to jump off, it doesn't go up into the dust collector, which makes a big racket.
All right, now we need to go in with a detail gouge. And we don't have vacuum on here, so if we cut this away now, there is a potential, and probably not slight even, that it goes a flying. So let's put on vacuum there. We're at 25 inches of mercury. We like that. And so what I could do is tip the gouge a little bit, take some of that shavings off, see where we are, getting down into critical area here. Okay, we're free. So now we need to back off the tailstock. You need to be really careful here. Feather this back a little, and we could see from the way it's gone to a dull color where we're cutting, so we know that when we feather this in, it's going to be pretty round for the right egg shape, and we're joining the this curve and this curve as seamlessly as we can. All right, that looks pretty good. We want to blend this surface here and then sand down there so that we get a polished surface there as well. I'm going to start with 320, and I think that should be good to blend these together. Now, because we're using vacuum, if we didn't have good suction, we'd be pulling water in. So we want to make sure that you have a good seal. I mean, obvious evidence of a bad seal is that you're not pulling anywhere near the amount of vacuum that you should have. And that obviously is going to vary by the product that you have, as well as how good the seal is on the chuck itself. $400. what I'm doing is feeling the surface. I think your fingers are far more sensitive than your eyes. Like, I can feel that there is probably a little bit of an air bubble down here, but I'm really not going to worry about it. 600. What I don't want to do is go too far here, because I don't want to hit the seal. I don't want to sand down the seal itself. But you want to feather it back enough to where you're still going to get be able to polish it. Since I don't eat poached eggs, I don't have any egg cups, which I think is what they're used for, right? I'm an egg sandwich kind of guy. I love egg sandwiches. Not as much as pizza, but I do love egg sandwiches. Okay, we're at 1200 now. Delightful. We can see the shine. Of course, a lot of that's the water, but hey. All right, let's take a look at that now that we've sanded it all the way. Yeah, there. Good. When you're polishing, you want to wear face protection because this stuff goes everywhere. It just makes such a mess. And then how you can tell how much shine you're getting is look at the reflection of the lights on the piece itself. And don't forget that down here at the bottom is going the slowest surface speed per minute, so it's going to require a little bit extra attention. Alright, let's see what we got here. You could always buff it as well. The thing about buffing is it's a little piece, and I have this habit of little pieces flying. And generally flying pieces don't last long. Alright, let's cut the vacuum.
But take a look at that. It's pretty cool. It's interesting how this is, it looks like it's all scratched up right here, this ring, but it isn't. It's actually where it all kind of sits down into the edge of the piece itself. Cool. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Be safe. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you'll watch the whole series. As always, any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below or email steve@turningwood.com. And as always, if you have any suggestions for more videos and topics, hit me up. Let's see what we can do. Thanks.